social networking sites.
Twitter.
Friendster.
Facebook.
MySpace.
Twitter!
I tweet often.
MySpace me.
My trampy little sister says MySpace is the new booty call.
This is the Early Edition with Phil Johnson and Gord Vizzuti on Kelowna's information station, AM 1150.
On a -2 morning at 6:51 in your day this Thursday, the Early Edition. Johnson, Vizzuti, and Daniel O'Hara here. It was 2 days ago that Yahoo Sports unveiled an online magazine. They get about 50 million visitors to Yahoo. I can still remember when Yahoo was one of the first social networking sites, and I still remember that phrase, "Do you Yahoo?" But Yahoo, with about 50 million visitors for news and commentary and games and so on and so forth, are shifting gears, and they are introducing an online magazine. And if you know anything about the Internet, it is all about digital. It is all about digital music, and these days it's becoming about digital publishing. With that starting point, fascinated by a story that I stumbled across in the Financial Post over December, talking about young entrepreneurs in this country. And the subject matter was Mygazines. And I'm connected this morning with Randy Frisch, who's in Toronto, who's one of the young entrepreneurs who started up something called Mygazines. And as I understand this, Randy, it lets me, Technophobe Phil, create an online magazine as easy as 1, 2, 3. Bless me.
Absolutely. Thanks for having us on, Phil. We're very excited. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, everything you've been saying so far, it's been a trend to make content more accessible for everyone, and to make it easier as well for really anyone out there to put content in the hands of their audience. You look at the old print world, which we still embrace and we think is a great business model, but the small guy can't really go and print magazines and distribute them around the world. Our technology, as you put it, makes it very easy for anyone, whether we're dealing with a small corporation, a large corporation, or really just an entrepreneur themselves who want to take content and share it with their audience.
When was the light bulb moment? When was Mygazines birthed?
Well, Mygazines started back in 2008, and back then it was a really different concept, which kind of came from the idea that, why did you need to go to a convenience store or drugstore to get your magazine when you really may just want excerpts of that? So we started off actually as similar to a YouTube-style site where people could upload content and share it with their friends. We pivoted late 2008 and became more of a tool for publishers to share their content as opposed to the end user sharing content that they had found. And at that point, we really just started to build out all the tools for a really professional solution so that people could send out their content and also analyze how people are engaging with it.
So, and this is where I really show my not ignorance, but just I got a lot of gray hair here, and this world is changing really. Are you an app?
We have aspects of an app, but we take a very different approach to the app environment. Don't get me wrong, I love apps. I've got an iPad and I download, all my favorite apps, but quite often the apps that I'm going to download are going to be things like games, sports. I'm out in Toronto, so it may be a Maple Leafs app, not a Canucks app, but in general, it's my day-to-day passions. When it comes to content, people are more of the style that they want to just go search, whether it's on Google or whatever the case being, and that doesn't matter if they're on a mobile device like an iPad or an iPhone, or they're on their desktop. So what we do is we use the web browser as our access point. So all you have to do is enter a URL, and that URL can be customized even to our customer instead of the Mygazines brand. And in that case, it's very easy to access that content. You don't need that traditional app store, although we offer that access point as well.
6:55, almost 6:56 in the morning, spending a couple of moments with Randy Frisch. He is one of two young men, young entrepreneurs spotlighted in Financial Post, who have developed something called Mygazines, which gives you and I the ability to create an online magazine. So are you taking the in-house newsletter concept and making it much larger, giving it more magic, more flair, more color, more style?
Absolutely. It's about taking content and enhancing it. Again, there's great advantages to print, but there's even further advantages that we can build upon those when we get into the digital world. We can take a traditional print document and we can add a video into it that streams through our browser experience. We can add links to advertisements. And not only can we do this, as you put it, in that traditional newspaper content or traditional magazine, but we're really finding a huge interest now from corporate environments. We have companies that are using this for all sorts of things. Sometimes it's a newsletter, sometimes it's a product brochure, or sometimes it's even educational manuals for their in-house team. The idea is that any type of content can be loaded into our platform and can be shared with an audience, internal or external.
So now the real question, starting back in 2007, 2008, you're being picked up on and written about in Financial Post as young entrepreneurs. Are you ultimately going to become one of these Google-styled multi-billionaires? Are you going to be the guys that sell MySpace or Facebook or whatever? And I'm going to be reading someday. I can say, I was talking to this Frisch guy about 3 years ago, and look at him now. He's worth $3.5 billion. Is that you?
I think we're taking it one day at a time. We're having a great time. We've had some great growth to date. Things like the Financial Post article, and beyond have really, piqued interest in our product. And, it's been fun. We're enjoying working with really small companies, but we've also got now, some nice, really large-profile companies coming on board. Just as an example, even, something obviously that started out west on your side of the country. We work with WestJet and their Up magazine. So rather than them just being able to put that magazine in the front seat of the airplane, they're distributing it through our technology with our partner Redpoint Media, who's based out of the west coast of Canada.
So when I sit in my WestJet flight looking at my own personal digital screen in the seat back in front of me, I can be reading the magazine, but it's being built through your platform.
Absolutely. We're essentially powering people's brands. And, we really believe that the web is this really fantastic place where you don't have to spend a ton of money to get your brand out there, right? In the traditional retail environment, you got to pay for a lease, you got to pay for your signage. On the web, all you really need is a domain and a location to visit. And, with the attractive pricing that we even offer people now for this solution versus where it was years ago, it's really an affordable way to build a brand online and extend your brand with your content.
Are you working to replicate the magazine experience? I can still remember a magazine that I found one place that was a digital, and when I touched the upper right-hand corner, the page sort of turned in front of me. Are you getting that? I don't know. You adding that kind of magic into the process?
Absolutely. I mean, those are really the basics of what we're doing. What we do is we take a traditional printed document and we upload it via PDF. So you use our web-based platform, which is really nice. You don't have to install any software. And we're, as they say now, we're operating up in the cloud. You upload that PDF, and we kind of use our magic in the background, and we convert this into a page-turning experience. And we're using all sorts of technologies. I won't overwhelm any of your audience today, but we're using the latest and greatest technology to really make this an interactive experience. So from the way the page turns to the fact that a video can be embedded in, to the fact that
Randy, I got to fly here, man.
No worries.
There's a bigger magazine calling me here, but people can find you just by going to Google and writing in Mygazine.
Yeah, just make sure they use a Y instead of a magazine. It's mygazines.com.
You got it. Have a great day.
Social networking sites.
Twitter.
Friendster. Facebook.
MySpace.
Twitter! I tweet often. MySpace to me.
My trampy little sister says MySpace is the new booty call.
This is the Early Edition with Phil Johnson and Gord Vizzuti on Kelowna's information station, AM 1150.